Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. There is a smile on my face and laughter in my voice because of the very nature of this particular video. We're going to look at an article, and I've kind of prefaced this one in my last video about Humza Yousaf and money. And it's all to do with trust issues, because obviously nobody can trust the SNP in any way, shape or form. I mean, after all, they've got form, haven't they? There's massive investigations. They've been spending money left, right and centre on jollies. They've treated other people's money as their own. And, if they haven't actually embezzled it, they've certainly gained it fraudulently to begin with. And so Humza Yousaf has come out and, in all honesty, I've got to give him the cheek of the man. I mean, he must have a sack. I always said the man had no balls. The man must have balls to come out and say this with a straight face. He said that independent supporters can trust the SNP with their money. Are you kidding me? Let's have a look at this article. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Here goes. Now, honestly, if you haven't seen this with your own eyes, you wouldn't believe it. I have seen it with my own eyes and I can barely believe it. Humza Yousaf says independent supporters can trust the SNP with their money. Are you kidding me? I didn't think the guy had it in him to do it, and there he is and he's doing it. I mean, even he must know it's a load of rubbish. Anyway, independent supporters can trust the SNP with their cash, Humza Yousaf has insisted. Speaking to the BBC, the First Minister said the police investigation into the party's finances and funds was no reason not to donate. Are you kidding me? That is one of the best reasons not to donate. Why would you possibly donate money to an organisation that is actually and actively being investigated by police for malfeasance like this, for gaining money through fraudulent means, for embezzlement, for corruption, and you say people can trust them with their money? Oh my God. The man has no limit to what he will do. It shows how desperate, how absolutely desperate they are to get money because they haven't got any. He said, we will rely on our grassroots membership to raise those funds for a future independent referendum. He says, I've no doubt that our members will dig deep. They dug deep before, and you wanked it away on motorhomes and £1,000 pens. People haven't got the cash, and anyone who has, well, they say about a fool and their money being parted quickly. Well, it just goes to show there's an awful lot of fools. If they, what's the saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I mean, these people have been fooled for the fourth and fifth time, some of them. Goes to show, doesn't it? Anyway, detectives are currently probing whether 660,000 raised specifically for fighting IndyRef 2 was spent on other things, which it has been, because it isn't sitting there waiting for IndyRef 2, is it? And he's saying, we need to raise funds for IndyRef 3. Oh, come on, Humza Yousaf. Even that won't float. Anyway, the party's former chief executive and treasurer have both been arrested and questioned before being released, which we know. In an interview with Radio 4's Today programme, Mr Yousaf, who lives in absolutely through the looking glass if he thinks this is right, also said he was hopeful Scotland could be independent in the next 5 years. I want whatever he's smoking because it must be really good. He said, and that he was confident his party will be able to file their accounts in time. Well, I think he's a bit like Alice. She likes to believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. He's up to 3, so he's got 3 to go. The SNP leader also said he did not believe there was anything out of the ordinary in the time taken by the Crown Office to agree to Police Scotland's request for a warrant to search Nicola Sturgeon's at home. That's 4 things before breakfast. I mean, this was on the Today programme, so it's definitely before breakfast. So it's up to 4 impossible things before breakfast. On Tuesday, the Scottish Sun revealed that prosecutors took 2 weeks to agree to the raid. Imagine if all raids took 2 weeks. They don't, because these criminals, they want to catch these criminals at it with evidence. But strangely, in this case, no, 2 weeks, wait till after that election. Yeah. And then they're saying that's normal. I'm saying that's bullshit. According to documents released to the paper through the Freedom of Information, police applied for the warrant on the 20th of March, 7 days before the end of the SNP leadership contest. I've done a video about this. It's well worth watching. However, the COPFS did not sign off until May the 3rd, a week after Mr Yousaf had been named First Minister. Asked if it was normal for a process to take 2 weeks, Mr Yousaf, who knows nothing about these things, had said it would be a question for the Crown. But he knows nothing. He was only the Justice Minister after all. He said it's not a question for government or ministers or the First Minister. Oh yes, it most certainly is. Ultimately, they are responsible. We would never dream of interfering, neither in a live police investigation, but certainly not in a search warrant. Again, more lies. The man can't help himself. The Lord Advocate, the Solicitor General, who are also members of the government, they will recuse themselves for any decision that has to do with any politician. Will they? They haven't yet, and there's no way that they didn't tell Nicola Sturgeon and Peter Murrell to get their house in order and get rid of the evidence. It's obvious that that was the main reason for the delay. That, and making sure that Humza Yousaf won that election. It's really important, of course, that these processes and these questions that you've got around the process are for the Crown. I don't believe there will be any particular reason out of the ordinary that it will take that time. But again, it would be a question for the Crown Office. He doesn't believe that. We're up to 5 impossible things before breakfast. He really is Alice Yousaf, isn't he? When it was put to him that the news of the search warrant emerged during the leadership contest, it could have made a difference to the result, Mr Yousaf refused to be drawn. He said, I think the decision for the Lord Advocate, or in this case the Crown, more generally, would be to not make decisions based on election contests or politics. They make decisions in terms of what is appropriate in relation to the Crown. He believes 6. He is now officially Alice. He believes 6 impossible things before breakfast. All this on the Today programme before he's had his breakfast. Well done, Alice Yousaf. Mr Yousaf said the SNP's troubles had not come up when he'd been out on the campaign trail, knocking doors earlier this month. Nobody mentioned to me police investigations or membership numbers or auditors. They did mention to me how high their energy bills were, or the cost of living, or some of the challenges that we still face within the NHS here in Scotland. These are all problems caused, of course, by the SNP. So that's where my focus is. Fixing the SNP's problems, the problems that the SNP have caused. No, that's not where your focus is it? Your focus is on your party and its troubles. Unbelievable. I'm believing in 1 impossible thing. He's believing in 6. Asked if he still believed, it's going to be 7. It's going to be 7. Asked if he still believed Scotland will be an independent country in 5 years' time, as he did during the leadership contest, Mr Yousaf replied, I said I was hopeful that we'd be independent within 5 years. That will certainly be my aim, to do everything I can to advance the cause of independence. And it won't be, because it doesn't matter who is going to win the next general election, Labour and or Tories and or Lib Dems. Perm any 2 from 3, I suspect. None of them will give you independence, because no one will want to be held as the leader that broke up the union. And also, if they're relying on Scottish seats, they don't want to be losing them either, do they? But then Humza Yousaf is not the brightest button in the box. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. But yes, Alice Yousaf, he believes 6 impossible things before breakfast. Bless him. For the people who keep giving money to the SNP, especially now, there must be no limit to their incredulity. For him to stand there and say that you're perfectly safe giving us your money, it's not as though we're going to do anything wrong with it. We haven't, we're not crooks. Meanwhile, the police are wandering past carrying boxes of evidence, investigating bank accounts. It is just bonkers. I mean, we are through the looking glass. This is Alice in Wonderland. He is the Mad Hatter. It's truly awesome. I mean, you've got to give the guy credit. To have the actual barefaced cheek to come out and say that is stunning, isn't it? It's amazing. I look for stories. I said, well, what story will we have today? And even I couldn't have come up with one of that in a fevered dream. Would I have thought that that would be one of the stories of today? But there you are, and there you have it now. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, you can't improve upon things like this, can you? But until next time, stay safe, stay well, don't go through the looking glass because you're already here, and goodbye.